Good Wednesday morning. Have you ever found yourself pointing fingers at somebody in blame? Or coming up with an excuse for something that you've done, trying to deflect your own guilt? Guilty, and probably more often than I would like to admit. I remember a time prior to the pandemic where I was at a friend's house and we were sitting in the backyard, and his two kids were playing in the pool. His young son had one of those long foam floaty tubes that he was playing with, and his daughter had a blow-up duck that she was riding on. And the sister came over to the brother's corner and wanted to play with him, and for some reason he didn't want to play. And when she tried again, he took his foam tube and started beating her over the head with it. And she started to cry. And I was a little uncomfortable. It was like, okay, so what's going to happen here? And the dad yelled out there, "Hey, what are you doing? Come up here." And the boy got out of the pool and started walking towards him, and he was adamant. It was his sister's fault, Dad. And Dad brought him over and set him on his lap, and he said, "Son, I love you with all my heart. Do you know that?" It's like, "Yeah." But that behavior is unacceptable. "But Dad..." And the dad wasn't having anything to do with it. "Why would you do that?" "I don't know." He didn't even know why he didn't want his sister in that corner. She just shouldn't be there. And I think that the dad taking the time to emphasize that he loved his son helped to treat that wound within his son's heart in that moment. That would be an example of the word sin, that it was exposed. This thing that he did was exposed, and it's being corrected with love. "Son, I still love you. That behavior isn't going to stop my love for you, but you can't be acting that way in that type of a situation." And that love, I believe, helped treat the wound and even led to healing. It was about 10 minutes later, the two kids were back in the pool and playing together. Now, does that mean that he didn't do it again? My guess is that was not the only time that my friend had to put his son on his lap. But what if Dad, instead of lovingly bringing his son to task, what if he would have said to his crying daughter, "Get over it. It's a foam tube. It doesn't hurt. You'll be all right." What would have been the results of that? You know, life is hard. And we have to persevere through a lot of challenges in life. And so we do have to be able to get through tough times, but that does not condone bad behavior. So I sit here this morning talking to you about this because this is the conviction of my faith with Jesus. It is why I try to follow Jesus and Jesus' teachings. It is a message of love and grace, like that of the father speaking to his son by the pool. God can see through our excuses. God can see through our blame. And when we're embarrassed or we feel ashamed or guilty, the message first is, "I love you," from God, from Jesus. But that behavior is not acceptable. Don't do that again. And I think that's a message that is worthy of sharing with other people. When I find myself wanting to point fingers or wanting to excuse myself, I need to catch myself and say, okay, I've got to take some personal responsibility and recognize that it doesn't change God's love for me. So the next time that you're ready to point fingers, or you see somebody else pointing fingers, love them up with truth. Have a great week. God bless you. Goodbye.